Hey friends, this is it's an announcement, and it's a very important one, but it's also a request which I'm making directly to all of you. Tomorrow is, after some years in the baking, finally the Ceremonial Seating live broadcast starting at 11 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern, and 7 p.m. BST, that's British Standard Time, and you can work out the times where you are in the rest of the world. That is the Ceremonial Seating taking place on the International Tribunal for Natural Justice's Judicial Commission of Inquiry into the Doctrines of Discovery, the Doctrine of Discovery. This is the big one. This is the one that I have been waiting for about 15 years to begin. And after the last year and a half of extensive work by the World Hereditary Council and the International Tribunal for Natural Justice, we are ready to push the boat out of the harbor. Why it's important is because if you study the works that the ITNJ have done since 2015 when we founded into financial crimes, into human trafficking, into child sex abuse, into the weaponization of the biosphere. Those were the seatings we did in Indonesia. The corona hearings, which we did throughout the year of lockdown in 2020. And the court went into pause. I've been touring excessively and expanding the work of the, in a sense, the New Earth Horizon, the New Earth Project, in order to build out the cornerstone of the real enterprise of remedy and of redemption, not waiting for some Pleiadian starship to rescue us or waiting for the black hats and the white hats to fix their game and bring about the so-called reset. All of that stuff is variously happening, variously underway in the basement. But the business of manifesting a better world, building the cornerstone to it, and beginning to construct, in a sense, tram lines to pick up where Babylon falls. How do we move forward? How do we autonomously begin to build the kind of world which we want to live in, which we want our children to be born into, which we want grandchildren and great-grandchildren, God willing, to inherit. That's hard medicine. That's hard graft, and we've done it relentlessly, we've done it for years, and I'm exhausted, but delighted to announce that tomorrow's ceremonial seating of the ITNJ's Judicial Commission of Inquiry into the Doctrine of Discovery is ground zero. This is where the big story gets. It was one thing speaking about human trafficking, child sex abuse and ritual satanic abuse, and weaponization of the biosphere and the systemic poisoning of our world by corporations masquerading as governments, and by all the satanic bullshit that assails and afflicts our lives. Those were stories, important stories that needed to be told in earnest and in honor. But this one, the Doctrine of Discovery, speaks to the enslavement of every single human being throughout history. It's taking us back thousands of years, most specifically about 1,500 years. And at tomorrow's ceremonial seating broadcast, if you are sensible enough and, dare I say, decent enough to lean in and pay close attention and participate as an audience and share the links, we're going to learn when the justices and the commissioners and select hereditary leaders come forward during the live broadcast. We're going to be speaking to the crime of ages. We're going to be speaking to the enslavement of humanity. And I'm talking about black skin, brown skin, red skin, yellow skin, and white skin people. This is way beyond color, friends. This is Canaanite ritualism. This is the Babylonian edifice. This is how every human being has been indentured from birth to death. and how we've been monetized and securitized by a Saturnian satanic complex. It also then sheds a light on how it is that we move, transmute, and transcend the status quo into the next becoming, the next great age, the next revelation, the onset of human biological ascension. Because if we're talking about reconvention with Alpha Omega, with Source, with our divinity, then we have to put down the shadow that we carry. We have to put down our masks. We have to put down our addictions and our foibles, our all of those aspects of our character. And God knows I've been as guilty as any of carrying shade in my character, but I do see and understand that it is how you and I now convene relationship with right action and with pure truth. The metric that I have been promoting or promulgating as much as I can for many, many years through the New Earth metric. The restoration of natural justice is not about justice coming from out there and being delivered unto us. In the same way that redemption and salvation are not coming from the Pleiades or from the cavalry of white hats and good people in the establishment. The redemption and the salvation is coming from you, to you, and from me, to me. And then how you and I can convene in pure truth and in right action, in the living moment, unfiltered, no masks. And that's what I am inviting everyone to consider when you think in terms of correcting history, if you think in terms of getting rid of the government and getting rid of the Catholic Church or getting rid of anything. It's not just about the surgical removal of things. It's about the process. It's the motion of your feet upon the path that you walk. It is not the destination that you think you're going to arrive at, because if the wisdom flame teaches us anything at all, it is that there is no destination. The destination is always the immanent flame of the living moment. So be present, pay attention, look into what it is that we're doing tomorrow. This is work, toil born of thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of man-hours of love and latitude and grace extended by your fellows. And that is the justices who are going to be on the ceremonial bench. It is the law commissioners who are going to be there. It is the hereditary leaders who are going to be there. And all the officers and trustees of the World Hereditary Council and the International Tribunal for Natural Justice. These are both institutions which I have founded, and we've created a separation between them. But as we've progressed the work over the last year and a half, I can safely say that we've seen that redemption for the hereditary elders and leaders and First Nation peoples of the world, the indigenous peoples of the world, is inseparable from natural justice. It is one and the same language. So the ITNJ and the WHC have essentially forged together to create this glittering highway now upon which we can start to hear the stories, the living testament of the Aboriginal and First Nation people of the world. Emphasis there, hereditary leaders. So again, make a note, 11 o'clock in the morning, Pacific, I will be broadcasting from here in somewhere near Hollywood in California, in Los Angeles. 11 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Britain. Please, if you're in Australasia, and I know a great many of you are and will be looking in from there, please check the times, get the times right. And you can also follow the blurb, which I will have my crew put below these social media drops to ensure that you can get to the right venue to watch the broadcast. But essentially, you can watch my social media because everything's going to be broadcast through there as well. So friends, the big story of redemption and of salvation and of how we stand in full autonomy and in pure truth, declare ourselves sovereign from the yoke and from the trauma, the traumas of our ancestors that each of us carry through epigenetics, and we're still butchering each other, butchering our lives, butchering relationships, butchering situations, and fucking up because we have not moved into that alignment with these ancient stories that are cascading through the blood. And that's the importance at the cellular level of why we're doing what we're doing tomorrow at the ceremonial seating of the World Hereditary Council's commissioned Judicial Commission of Inquiry into the Doctrine of Discovery. And Doctrine of Discovery, for those of you who don't know, after I've been wheezing here for the last few minutes, was the paper which was issued many hundreds of years ago by the Vatican, which under the auspice of the all-seeing eye of the Bishop of Rome, the Pope, gave a license to the crowns of Europe to go forth and conquest the whole world in the name of God, and to genocide all of the indigenous and Aboriginal peoples in the name of God, and declared that all of the Aboriginal First Nation peoples of the world were homo animalis, declared as subhuman. And up until very recently, that was in Vatican law still. I was involved many years ago, I think it was over 10, 12 years ago, in forcing a meeting at the Vatican to confront the Pope on this insane canon that declares black skin, brown skin, red skin, yellow skin people as homo animalis, subhumans. Up until the present day that occurred. I think it was finally redacted or rescinded, I think it was in 2023. Anyway, point being, here we are under the blazing gaze of the eternal sky, friends, and we're the ones who are defining the outcomes. So join me tomorrow at the broadcast, please. It's a piece of history. You don't want to miss it, and I am making a heartfelt appeal to you to do at least the little bit of sharing this message with your ecosystems. All right, much love to you all, friends. Thank you.